Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my Immigrant Diary. My name is Vali.
And my name is Precious. So, Wally, guess what, man? You will not believe what happened to me, man.
Wait, what happened again?
Barely 1 month of buying a car, I had an accident.
What
Like,
happened?
I am so upset. So upset. So I can't even express the way I feel about it or how I'm feeling right now, just even talking about it.
Yeah,
So, you know, rush hour traffic. Usually, I don't know if it's the same in your state, but in Maryland, on the Beltway, which is called I-695, rush hour traffic can be a lot. But rush hour traffic is not the same rush hour traffic you experience in Lagos, right?
yeah,
It's just kind of bumper to bumper, slowly people are moving, but there's progress,
yeah,
right? And I was in rush hour traffic heading home. So, and rush hour traffic is for the highway is such that it moves, it slows down, it moves, it slows down. Like it's there's people give themselves that bumper to bumper gap, you
yeah,
know, because it will sometimes you get to some like a bottleneck on the as you progress, and sometimes the highway opens up. So when you get to those bottleneck, everybody kind of slows down because there's a lot of people. Also, those joining the highway from adjoining roads or otherwise.
yeah,
So when in this rush hour traffic, it was like 4:45, 4:50 ish,
yeah,
and while we're making that slow, fast progress, the car in front of me, I have no idea what happened right in front of him, but I know that it was sudden. He stepped on his brake, right?
yeah,
And just like I mentioned in in one of our videos about the thing with driving a very modern car, which is the safety features.
yes,
As soon as that happened, you know, my car alarm beeped.
yeah,
I was responding immediately as I noticed that it was a sudden, break, because it was such that we all had picked speed. Then all of a sudden the guy, the person in front of me just stepped on it.
yes. I
So
see
I
that.
also stepped on mine, right? I stepped on my brakes. And one of the things I always do whenever I find myself in that situation, I always will look at my rearview mirror in hope that the person behind me is reacting, at the same time. So when this happened, as soon as I stepped on my brake, my eyes went, which is my habit. My eyes went straight to my rearview mirror, and I could see the vehicle behind me coming at me, screeching. I was like, oh my god.
Oh
Dude, man, I was so heartbroken. Like, I have no words. Boom! The car, slammed into my vehicle from the back. I was so upset. I was like, how long? I was just so many questions. Like,
no, yeah,
I was fine because it wasn't like a major hit
yeah.
because it was rush hour. We're not on high speed. It wasn't like
But
it
you
was
still
just
have like some sort of shock because of that
yeah,
impact on the
that
vehicle.
dent, that shock, and all that. So my airbag didn't bust open or anything. So that's also to for you to have an idea of the impact.
Yeah,
So I came down. As soon as I came down, went to the back of the car to see, the damage and, kind of just expect civility. I, exchange insurance and progress. As soon as I came down, there was this, dude with dreads. He came down, he was just swearing at me, swearing out like he was just swearing. And I was like, okay, what's happening here? Like, I wasn't sure, like, I didn't know what I was in my head. I was like, what's he talking about? Like, he was just swearing at me, swearing at everything, swearing and swearing. All I said was like, hey dude, you know what, can I have your insurance? He's like, hey, I'm gonna get it. It was just, so he entered his car and tried to reverse, right? And so, I was standing in front of the in between both our cars. So as noticed, I was trying to reverse. I held his car door. He was driving a Honda Accord, I think 2021, the one in Nigeria we used to call end of discussion.
Yeah.
So I held the door and I was like, hey, can I have your insurance? And he was just showing at me, and he went for his glove compartment to try and get the whatever I was trying to get. Then he hit me, like, wait, this is America. This is the US. I have heard all kind of stories. I have seen too many Hollywood movies. I'm like, what if he's going for something else in that glove compartment? Like, we're in the middle of the highway, like, so I took a step back, brought on my phone, I started taking picture. I just so that I don't, because I'm standing at the door, I'm imposing, right? So I'm imposing. I'm not a really small guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, give me some credit. So, so I'm like, I'm imposing. And it was just natural. I wanted to kind of impose, like, hey, dude, I'm here. But when I thought about the fact that what if it was something else in that glove compartment, I took a step back, and I just started taking pictures. And I already knew from the first time he tried to reverse, right? I knew he wanted to drive off. So I just took it back and I started taking a picture. And lo and behold, the dude, as soon as he noticed I stepped back, he shut the door, put the car on reverse. In the middle of the highway, everybody's diverting, cutting away from the border, from our cars. This dude almost hit someone else, drove off, but I was able to, capture as much of his car and, the damage and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was so now I'm standing in the middle of the highway. Cars are blowing past me left and right. The ones right behind my car are diverting. Like, I'm like, what do I do? I'm in a bit of a shock, and frightened at the same time, because like some crazy person can hit me. So I went into the car. I would say that my experience driving in the US, so far has been pleasant for the most part, beside that accident. It's been a month. I mean, that's the data I have, but people's kind of
compared to Lagos.
Compared to Lagos, people were very civil because the people are slow down.
Yeah,
and I was able to drive my car, to the what's it called, the side of the highway, just to get out of danger and all that. So because I wasn't sure what to do, so I parked. I was like, what do I do? I was thinking, should I call the police? The cops, what would they do? These guys, the guy driven off. I'm like, okay. So I called a friend to say, hey, this is what happened. He was like, call the cops. So I said, okay. So I called I usually would go for a second opinion, right? So I called another friend who is a more older, mature man who has lived in US all his life, and he's mentioned having accidents in the past. So I called him and I said, hey, this was happening, this is my situation, what do I do? He was like, okay, the car is gone, so just call your insurance. So now I have two information, right? Call the insurance, call the cops.
Yeah.
So so I'm like, I don't like to deal with cops, from just having some personal bad experience in Nigeria. So I called the insurance, gave the insurance all the information. They took as much information they needed, asked me if I needed a car, if I needed, someone to come pick me, if my car is still drivable. I said, yeah, it's drivable. It didn't look like a lot of damage because I'm driving, I drive an SUV, right? And the car that hit me was a saloon car. So because I drive an SUV, my car is raised, so when the car hit my vehicle, it went under it, right? So a lot of the damage was on the saloon car, that not my car. So my own vehicle had a bit of a damage on the trunk, the bumper, and all that stuff. But I can guarantee you, the saloon car, what I saw was the field was a lot more damaged.
Okay.
Yeah. So I called the insurance, and the insurance, took all the information, and I drove my car. I picked part of the pieces or whatever it's called, part of my stuff that got broken, and I drove off and I went home. So yeah, I was really, really sad, really upset. Then guess what? The next day, the insurance called me again. This was also my first time I was dealing with insurance. The number of calls I got, the questions I got, tired. I was so frustrated. I was like, "Come on, man! I've given you guys all the information. Why do you keep calling me like different people from your organization? Go check the information I gave you already. Come on, So the person handling my case called and said, it's a hit and run. It is what it is. They have a deductible. It was $250, and at this time I had no idea what the cost of repair was, right? So I was like, I don't know. So the person under my case, called back and said, did I report to the police? I said no, I didn't report because the car, it was hit and run. And she said, okay, do you have any pictures? I said yes, I have pictures of the car. Said, did you get the plate number, the license plate of the car? I said, yeah, I did. She was like, oh, send it. Maybe we should be able to track the car with that. I was like, oh, okay. So I sent the pictures. So a few hours later, she called me and said, we found the car.
Oh, wow.
Like, okay, like you found the car. I said, yeah, we found the details and the owner of the car. I was like, okay, so, what do I do? Do I call the cops now or something? Do I report? She was like, yeah, the car is also insured by us. Oh my gosh. Like, so for me, I didn't know what that meant. Like, okay, what does this mean?
Yeah.
What does this mean? Like, I don't know. Like, okay. So the car has a coverage with you. So what does that mean? She was like, oh, so as a result, the same insurance that had spoken to me about the deductible of $250, all of a sudden said, okay, we will take, we are now at fault. So the same insurance, my own insurance is there for the insurance who is at fault. Since I had enough evidence, the pictures I took was enough evidence, that of what happened. It could not be argued about who was at fault. So I was so super, super excited, delighted that this happened. Like, it was like a miracle, bro. The definition of a miracle was that, because I had no clue what was going to transpire. I was already calculating in my head, like, okay, if they give me the 250, maybe I would, fix the bumper and add some money, then maybe later buy a trunk because it can be very expensive,
Yeah. So wait, did you eventually reach out to the police?
So yeah, I did. So I called the cops after when I sent the details to the insurance, and before the insurance got back to me, they had told me, they require a police report, all those stuff to process the deductible they were going to give me.
Yeah.
So when they said they needed a police report, I called the police, and the police they were like, there's nothing they can do. They can't take a report. I'm like, yeah, because they're like, when did it happen? I was like, this was now 48 hours. Like that's 48 hours ago. Like, I should have called on the crime scene. I should have called. And like, I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't act. So this is me just being vulnerable. I didn't do what I was supposed to do, right? It was scary. There was a lot going through my mind. I've never been in that kind of situation before. I was uncertain what to do. I'm a new immigrant in America. So many things were all over my head. I had to, do data at one point, called the cops, call your insurance, right? So I choose to go with the insurance. So I probably should have gone with the cops, and then maybe go back to insurance. I don't know. But I learned quickly. And one of the lessons I learned is, if anything happens, if you're in the US or anywhere else, call the cops, file a complaint immediately. Now, it was a good thing you asked that question, because when I spoke to a friend of mine, he said to me, he said, you should have called the cops. And I was like, and his point was this. He said, because you could be preventing other crimes, right? Because hit and run is a crime under the law. And for someone to hit your car and run, that means that person could possibly be going to commit another crime or could be on his way from committing a crime. And so that call, the police could have tracked the car while on the highway and, you could have prevented, other crimes from happening, and I've never in my life ever thought of it like that.
Yeah.
And I think that was a powerful message. I got the message and I said to myself, I'm going to share this to people. I'm going to share it on our channel that, if anyone finds themselves in similar situation like I did, call the cops immediately, file a complaint, file a report, give all the information. And one of the things that was said to me that I was praised for was just the consciousness to take pictures, but those pictures would have been helpful in the investigation as well. Yeah. Although it helped in the investigation from the insurance end to be able to, find the vehicle, find out that they also insured the vehicle and therefore became responsible for fixing my car all of a sudden. I'm very grateful. I'm very happy that happened, but that's very rare. That is a very unique situation, right? Yeah. But, check this out. So I was told to send the car in to a body shop to get quote. At the end of the day, when the quote came back, it was like, I think it was 4,800 for the repairs. Bruh. $4,800 for the repairs, man. So dude, I bet, how long have I been in the US to spend that kind of money on repairs? Come on. And guess what? And they were supposed to give me what, $250, right? Just imagine. Look at imagine. Imagine is insane. So yeah, I don't know what to say. So for me, right, three main lessons I learned, and I'm sharing this, and for our listeners. One, when you're driving, even if you find yourself in the rush hour traffic, always keep enough distance, because I look back at it, even though I didn't hit the car in front of me, I was able to step on my brake in due time, and it was good. I didn't hit the car, so that proves that I had enough distance. But give even more, because if I had enough distance, a bit more, maybe the car behind me will have a bit more time to, catch his, avoid hitting my own vehicle. So, just one lesson: keep enough distance. If you have to double the distance, do. Second thing is, if you ever find yourself in a situation like that where a car hits you, just call the cops.
Even if one is at fault, whether you're at fault.
Yeah, even if you're at fault, yes. Yeah, if you're at fault, call the police, file a report immediately. If you're at fault, file a report. If the other vehicles are at fault, call the police immediately and file a report. If you ever find yourself in a hit and run, file a report immediately, because that was what I was told by the highway patrol, that if I had called the day it happened while on the scene, they could possibly have tracked that vehicle, and found the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
So that's one. And finally, don't play with your car insurance. Get the insurance active. Make sure you have an insurance. Make sure it's active. Make sure, don't play with that, because I could have easily have spent over $4,000 just trying to fix my car, right? And I ended up spending nothing, even though I made mistakes, but I was just fortunate. I think this is maybe one in God knows a million that a car that hits your car will happen to be on that, both the car will be under the same insurance. And also, it was a hit and run. Even with that, so those are my three these are like 3 lessons I learned from the experience, and I just want to share that with everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Like it's I'm personally happy that you're safe.
Yeah, I'm safe. I'm safe. I was encouraged to go to the hospital to go for checkup and all that. And I should. But I did think that. I mean, that's not what I think is the fact that I need to go for a checkup. Actually, I should go for a checkup. But I'll look at that. I'll look at going for a checkup. Yeah, just to because sometimes I feel like nothing happened. I'm strong. Nothing. I didn't hit my chest against my steering. I didn't hit my head against anything. But who knows? So yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm glad, and thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And we hope you all that are listening to us, you are able to learn, and hopefully this is going to help you as you transition to the US, to Europe, to Asia, wherever it is you move to in the world. Thank you again. We'll see you in the next episode of My Immigrant Diary.
All right then. Cheers.